Are we ready for the intro? What's going on, everybody? My name is Taylor and I make videos on YouTube all about travel, RV lifestyle, and general happiness. Today I'm actually going to be doing a tutorial on how to properly put a truck camper on a truck. So if you're interested in seeing that, stay tuned. Also, last night I put together a little bit of an intro for my YouTube video, so I am going to roll that right now. Yes, that was not a bad intro, right? I'll get better. Maybe I'll tweak some things here or there. I'm going to try to get a lot of the tutorial done inside, just the explaining of things. So follow me. Let's go inside my camper. Oh no, I said follow me. Come here. All right, so now we are in my camper. And I love it in here, especially when it's cold outside. It's rainy. It's nice to come in and throw on a movie from my TV there and just kind of, you know, get cozy. The first thing before we do anything with the truck camper or the truck is you need to make sure that your truck can haul the amount of weight that your truck camper is. And that is called payload. And so to find out what your payload capacity is on your truck, you can Google it, but with Googling it, it's tough because a lot of things affect it, such as the year of your truck, whether your truck's a quad cab, a standard cab, an extended cab, whether your truck is gas or diesel, whether your truck is a single wheel or a dual wheel on the back. All of those things affect the payload capacity of your truck. So that is the first thing that you want to make sure and figure out. So my truck, a 2017 Chevy 1-ton dually, has a payload capacity of 6,700 pounds. So that's quite a lot, and a couple reasons for that is it's gas, it's a dually, and it's only a standard cab, so just 2 doors. So that removes a lot of the weight off the actual vehicle itself. And then this camper is 3,500 pounds dry. So dry weight, 3,500 pounds. With all of my stuff in here, that's a pretty heavy bed that I put in. My water is full. Propane, batteries, all the stuff in my cupboards and storage. I'm probably right around 4,000 pounds. So once again, payload truck 6,700 pounds, camper weight is 4,000 pounds. So I am good. The next step is you need to bring your slide in. I would highly recommend not hooking up your camper with your slide out. It does make things a little bit uneven and tough to level. So always bring your slide in before you raise your camper. So the next step isn't the biggest deal. It's just really annoying when you forget it. License plate. If you don't take this off right now and put it on the back of your camper, then when I back up to it, I'm gonna have a hard time getting at it because it's gonna be underneath. I'm gonna have to crawl around the ground. Alrighty, so we are ready for the next step, but take a little walk around your camper and see if anything is obstructing your camper from lifting upwards, which I believe my sewage hose is going to. So I'm just going to take that off real quick. So my sewage hose is disconnected. I don't have a water hose hooked up right now. My 30 amp power is going to be fine because there's lots of cord. It'll just lift off the ground. And like I said, just take a little walk around. It doesn't hurt. Just make sure everything is where it's supposed to be. I want to come around here. And there's a little power bar right here. So you're going to press that. And now you have power on your jacks, so it's gonna work now. And my neighbors just got in. Now this is the fun part. Arctic Fox has this really neat remote controller that lifts all of your jacks. And so basically, you're gonna look at it like this, and here's gonna be your front left one, and that's a lift and a lower. Your front right one, lift, lower, back two, lift, lower, and if you wanna lift all of them, you press that one, and if you wanna lower all of them, you press that one. So before you lift your jacks, I wanna say Arctic Fox does have electric jacks. If you have manual jacks, I am sorry. If I'm around, give me a call and I will come help you crank those down. But these do have electric jacks. So before I use my jacks, I make sure either my generator is running, because it does suck a lot of power, or I make sure that I'm hooked up to shore power, which I am right now. So here we go. Now when you press lift, you can hear that? All of them are lifting right here. Let's not put a label on it. 'Cause you call it what you want. Yeah, we call it what we want. I'm just trying to get out of the rain because I don't want this camera to get too wet, but it's at the desired height that I want it, give or take. I like to just, I don't have, like what you can do is you can actually set, you see these little numbers here? You can actually set, you know, when I would have taken it off, I could have seen exactly where these were and then set it back so I know that my truck's gonna fit underneath, but I don't. I just play it by ear, and so I just kind of back up right here and then start to figure it out at that point. Now the next thing that I want to talk about real quick, and this makes it so much easier to back up onto this truck camper, is to have a piece of tape right in the middle. Okay, so just measure this length out and then right in the middle have a piece of tape. And then in my box here, I have the same piece of tape. And so I just follow that all the way, and that usually gets me pretty center, and then I just have to do a little bit of tweaking from there. And this is also a good time to put your electric cord plug in and string it up to the front there. So there's my electric cord, and I just run it beside this mat all the way so that when the camper's on, it's easy to just plug in the front. And that cord gives me my lights, and it also trickle charges my battery. Another tip that I would give you is to put a rubber mat in the back of your truck. Rubber mat is fantastic, and I'd highly recommend it. It just kind of takes some pressure off your actual box, and it does less damage on the bottom of your truck camper to have a little bit of cushion between your camper and your truck box. And we're almost there, guys. The next step is to slowly back up. So you're just going to line it up with this line and this line and slowly inch back. So I'm about half back. So I'm lined up real nice there. And I'm going to take a look down this side. And that is pretty good. And I'm going to go to the other side and take a look at that. I am almost dead on. I'm going to crank the wheel just a little bit to the left. See at the very back there, I'm starting to get close. I'm just a little bit off, so I'll crank the wheel so my box kicks out to the left there. So just tiny, tiny adjustments to get it where you want, and now I am pretty much straight on, and now I'm just going to go right back until these bumpers right here touch the top of my box. So we are pretty dead on. I kind of do a little bit of a finger test here, so I can fit about 4 fingers right there, and then I go on to the other side and I do the same thing. We just have to come over about 1 inch, but I don't have to move the truck for that. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at this, and I am going to lower the right side. This is the right side, so I'm just going to lower that a little bit more. Just like that. And then I can hit lower all. So just subtle tweaking, guys. I found that I was just a little bit off, so I raised it back up, tilted it a tiny bit, set it back down, and then the one last tip that I can give you is you come to your front of your truck, and if you have marker lights, if you don't, maybe put a piece of tape right in the middle of your roof there. And if you don't have marker lights up top, put a piece of tape right in the middle of the front of the truck camper there, and then you just line that marker light or that piece of tape up with that marker light or that piece of tape. So that looks perfect, even on both sides. And you'll be able to tell right away when you stand back here if it's off or not. Just take a look and make sure that even when you're traveling, to always keep looking at that, especially when there's strong winds. When I was in Montana, I hit 80-kilometer-an-hour winds or 50-mile, 60-mile-an-hour winds, and my whole camper shifted, and it shifted like this. And so I stopped at a gas station. I'm like, that does not look right. So I had to, you know, drop it down, lift. And the last step is to put your tie downs on and tighten them up. While I do this, I actually don't lift my jacks all the way up, just for kind of a precautionary measure in case the wind picks up and starts to tip my camper off my truck. At least I do have these jacks to kind of have a secondary support system. See what I mean? If you didn't put your license plate on at the beginning, then you'd have to climb under there and put it on, and you can get a little bit dirty. I'm gonna do a whole separate video on my tie downs, but basically on the front, I have spring-loaded tie downs connected to just chain, so spring-loaded. And then on the back, I just have chain and a turnbuckle. So I'm gonna do a future video of that. I believe the best is to have both of them spring-loaded, the front and the back. But, you know, I've been about 5,000 miles on my last trip and no problem with this setup, so. We are almost done, guys. Just one last step, and that is to make sure that this is plugged into your camper. It's that cord that we talked about earlier, and that will give your camper all of its lights on the outside, and it'll also charge your battery. And then what I do is I flip my four-ways on. See my four-ways? And we do a little walk around to make sure everything is stowed away. So I'll yank on these, make sure they're tight, make sure none of my doors are open, closed. Propane tanks are closed, sewage doors closed. See my lights here? Signal lights are working, meaning your braking lights are working as well. Fantastic. Put your stairs up, put your handle in, take a look up top here, nothing's hanging out, awning's in, marker lights are working. Cupboards are all closed, that's tight, slides in, that's tight. And this is not out, that is in. These actually, let's see if I can do it with one hand. There we go. They actually come out when you want to put your camper down. So it gives it a little bit more width, so a little bit more stability within your camper. And then when you're traveling, they just fold back in so that you're a little bit more aerodynamic, which is really cool. Come around to the front, we've got our signal lights are working, all of our marker lights are working, and it looks like we are square on with the truck. So we guys are ready for some adventure and ready for some travel.
On it, 'cause you call it what you want. Yeah, you call it what you want. A lot of good things that are coming. So let's call it what we want. Yeah, we call it what we want.
Alright guys, that is it for this video. I hope that you learned something in this tutorial. I've got many more videos on the way, and thanks so much once again for tuning in, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.
Late night walks and smokes and balconies. told you that I loved you, then you said that you love me. Let's not put a label on it, 'cause you call it what you want, yeah, we call it what we